What's up, guys? DLE Kamell here to talk about what I consider truly our first major update for Yugioh Master Duel, and that is the ban list. We know that this ban list has been so sought after. 3 months of the game has been available for us to play up until the platinum rank. So take into account that this is kind of where information that Konami is getting from, the player ladder. They're using that in this ban list, and they did say a couple things. They said, we've compiled the trends and results from decks used in ranked duels and will limit cards and decks with outstandingly high usage and win rates in line with their impact on metagame. So that means at any given time that Konami is really paying attention to the things that have high play rates in competitive play or, in ranked, no matter where. If they have an overwhelmingly larger play rate than other decks, they're going to prioritize those in order to see play. And that's why basically everything on this list got hit. Everything here is from either a meta deck or a very well played deck, and we'll get into each one of those and why in just a moment. But a lot of people disappointed about this ban list. My thoughts before we go over each individual card: I think that it is a good thing that the very first ban list in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel was not one that took a hard stance against any deck or any specific type of very powerful card on its own. I know that a lot of people wanted very powerful cards from certain decks to be straight up limited very hard or to be banned, such as Block Dragon and Eva, Tri-Brigade cards as well. I know a lot of people wanted Revolt to see some hit, but we've seen some hits to those decks, but not as damaging and strenuous as people thought. There's also no hits for a lot of things like Floodgates, like Imperial Order or Skill Drain. A lot of people thought that those cards being in the game unlimited were unfair. They are still here. Konami has not deemed them that much of a problem. And on the subject of those cards, I think that Konami not touching them in the initial update means that they're looking at Master Duel on its own, right? They don't want to compare cards usages in Master Duel to how they are in. They want to take a look at Master Duel on its own, and the cards like Maxi, Skill Drain, Imperial Order, any of those other Floodgatey back row. I'd say, me enough, they're working as intended in Master Duel right now. They're not causing too much of an overwhelming problem. That's why Konami did not look to take them out on this ban list. Well, let's take a look at some of the stuff that they did decide to take a look at on this ban list. And first, in the Limit 1 section, we've got Cyber Angel Benten and Conquistador of the Golden Land. Now, Drytron losing Benten down to 1 is pretty rough. They do abuse the card pretty frequently, continuously having it sent to the graveyard to search more and more fairies. So this should make that a little harder, especially because Drytron have to commit to searching Benten for this loop at some point. So if you're able to somehow, call by the grave that Benten or get it out of your opponent's possession somehow, you're going to be in a really good spot because now it's their only one. And the same thing can be said for Conquistador of the Golden Land. Before, you could just use this willy-nilly with along with Hakuero as your Eldritch Traps and just get as many pops as you want, get as many banishes as you want. However, now that your main form of removal outside of Floodgate back row is being limited to 1, people are going to have to take a closer look at how you use this card. You're definitely not going to want to just banish it after you use it in order to search an elixir. This is going to be something that you want to recycle from your graveyard back into your deck, something that you want to see continued use for because it's your only pop, baby. Once this is banished, this is not coming back from the graveyard. So I think Eldritch, if they want to maintain Conquistador as a good part of their strategy, they're just going to have to work on looping this card back into their strategy better. All right. All the other changes are going to be Limit 2s. And man, because of how Limit 2 works in the TCG, how it just limits the card itself to 2 copies, it's not how it works in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. These bans, some of these bans do not seem as bad, and we'll get into them. Firstly is DD Dynamite. DD Dynamite is a part of that burnt OTK deck that people were playing, and it being limited to 2. I know they changed some general boards. Being limited to 2 is whatever. I mean, as long as the incentive for people to do this is gone, it's not really going to catch on. Sekka's Light was being played in an Emancipator, and however, I found that I did not very much like Sekka's Light in competitive play because seeing things like Fall by the Grave and Lightning Storm are spells and traps that are just better than Sekka's Light, and your Emancipator deck should be able to, it should be consistent enough to operate without you needing to sacrifice the ability to use all spell and trap cards to draw 2 at the beginning of a duel. So I think Sekka's Light was very good for Emancipator, but it was definitely not needed and just something that's kind of like an extra crutch that you can use on the side. This is our first future-proof nerf here in Fusion Destiny. This is a fusion spell that makes it extremely easy to make any Destiny hero monster. Now, this is a preemptive nerf because in the next set, which is Burst of Destiny, we're supposed to get, oh my god, what is his name? Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, Destiny hero, Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, and he's a super overpowered Destiny hero monster, and he's going to be summoned very easily by Fusion Destiny, so that's definitely why they're limiting this card to 2. I hope that card really does make a big splash on the meta when it comes out. We should really shake things up. The Phantom Knights of Torn Scales. Now, dude, I don't know what Phantom Knights do, but I know that they make Rongo, and they make Rongo extremely consistent. I know this card is a part of the main Phantom Knights combo, but I'm not so sure how just putting this card to 2 will help. You know, effectively, this card going to 2, or any card in this, here for that matter, you're losing 1 copy of this 1 card. That's how much you're losing out of the deck. Most of these decks do play searchers for their very important cards, which these cards will likely become because now they're limited. So I don't really know how effective this is in really taking away these powerful options from these decks. It's of course a hurt their consistency, but even that, I don't know how much it is hurting their consistency at the end of the day. Next, Fractal getting hit with another semi-limit. This is another one of those situations, right? Tri Brigade plays 3 Tenki, 3 Fractal. If you don't run into the 3 Fractal, you're probably going to run into the Tenki eventually, so you go from 6 copies to 5. Not so effective in lowering the consistency of the deck. They could have done a lot more, but we'll have to see how this does. There is a Virtual World card on the ban list. I don't know what Virtual Worlds really do. I don't know how bad this guy getting hit is. Let me know in the comments how pivotal Lao Lao is to the strategy, and if it's going to be game breaking or not for them to put him at 2. Next is Lyrilless Cobalt Sparrow. So Cobalt Sparrow here is the main Lyrilless card that ties the Tri Brigade and Lyrilless archetype together, allowing you to add the level 1 Winged Beast, which is usually Nerval for your Tri Brigades. Now this is being limited to 2 just because, again, a very dominant deck that Konami saw that they need to limit the consistency in a little bit. And Cobalt Sparrow, I guess they're seeing is it. To be honest, I would have liked to see another Tri Brigade card here in place of this. However, I guess they feared if we put too many Tri Brigade cards in there, it's not going to hurt the variance too much. So this is something that's going up against the Bird Up Lyrilless Tri Brigade deck. And the hit is pretty nice. This means you're only really going to be able to set up consistently for 1 board, and then after that, it's going to be harder for you to circle your Lyrilless because you've definitely already used a Cobalt Sparrow on your first. Next, you've got 2 nerfs that I am pretty familiar with. We've got Break-Ins Roxy's a part of my Emancipator deck, and Emancipator Analyzer also a part of my Emancipator deck. So Prank Kids, talk about its implications in Prank Kids first. Prank Kids Roxy's lets you special summon from the deck after banishing a card from your hand if it's used in a Link summon or a Fusion summon. So losing an extra summon is pretty impactful for the deck. However, Prank Kids do have multiple monsters that do just... They summon on their own. Dropsies as another one. It summons after it as a material, so this is the end of the world for that. But it's more of a nerf targeted towards Emancipator, I feel like. Prank Kids Roxy's is a part of the main combo of this deck, and now your Prank Kid engine in your deck is going to be 2 Roxy's and 1 Dropsy. So it's going to go from a 4-card engine to a 3-card engine. And I have to say, for Emancipator, this nerf is not too crazy. Yes, it'll be less frequently that you do open up your Prank Kid engine in order to go into your Link Summon. However, you can easily circumvent this by running more copies of a card like Doki Doki, which will allow you to just special summon Roxy's from your deck by discarding any level 4 monster. So that's going to be the trade-off for Roxy's to 2, and for sure it's going to be Doki Doki to 3 to make it easier to search this guy. And then Analyzer to 2 being the only main Emancipator hit, and Analyzer to 2 does hurt the deck going second significantly because Analyzer is one of your best plays, and opening him going second just puts you so far ahead in value, and you're no longer going to have that option. I do think that the nerf would have been more devastating if it was on one of the level 2 tuners that just special summons from your hand by you controlling a monster. But Analyzer in itself, again, you're losing 1 Activate in your deck. You're losing 1 copy of 1 Emancipator card, and you can once again easily circumvent this by playing something like Emancipator Sign. Emancipator Sign was a normal spell which special summons a rock monster from your grave. Just off the top of my head, that is a good replacement there. It will kind of serve the same purpose, you know, even though it's not as good. But yeah, that's all the semi-limits. And then Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon is getting unlimited, likely because I think that this card did not seem so oppressive as like they thought it would have been, which is why they preemptively nerfed it. So now this card is unlimited. I hope we can see some shenanigans with this in Dragon decks. And so overall, what I'm going to say is, for my decks specifically, Eldritch and Emancipator, I don't think the Emancipator really got hit at all significantly whatsoever. I think that with a couple card changes, the Emancipator deck will be operating at normal capacity. The only significant hit there is the Analyzer to 2. Tri-Brigade is going to be doing just fine, baby. 3 Tenki, 2 Fractal, they will get it done. Bird Up may not be as good, but again, I don't think any of these nerfs are enough to even significantly decrease the amount of play that we see these decks get. It's just going to hurt this consistent a smidgen. The more of these decks are going to be depending on stuff like, you know, Pot of Desires, you know, Pot of Prosperity, stuff like that. Phantom Knight's nerf, whatever. Preemptive DPE nerf. I hope that DPE is not that much of a problem in the game, and I hope that this nerf just did not end up hurting Dusty Heroes. You know, if it's not really going to hurt DPE. And Seconds Light, whatever, dude. DD Dynamite had to go. Ben 10, I would like another Drytron nerf. I really do not like Drytron's position in Yugioh Master Duel right now. And I'd like to see something like Eva also get put on the ban list. And Eldritch is kind of down bad right now. They are losing quite a powerful effect, and they're ready access to it and being able to activate it multiple times per duel. But, you know, when in doubt, lean on those floodgate traps for Eldritch, baby. That's how you gotta run it. So, final thoughts. I think that this is a good first ban list for the game. I think it is unwise for Konami to go in and try to make any sweeping changes to the game that include touching controversial cards that are here that were not allowed in the TCG. I believe, once again, looking at Master Duel itself is very important, and attacking the powerful trends on the ladder was a good move instead of trying to focus on very specific power cards that people don't like. I know a lot of people are disappointed in the first ban list because they feel like it did not do enough to really change the meta, change the ecosystem of the game. How do you guys feel the first ban list is going to come off in the eyes of players? Do you think it's really going to change the meta? Or do you think we're literally just going to see things as they have been, but the decks are a little bit less consistent? Let me know what you think. I got more ban list videos coming later in the week. Peace out, guys. Have a good night.